Welcome back, everybody. My name is Alan Smason. For those of you who are joining us for the first time tonight, this is NOLA Theater Talk. And those of you who know what we're doing here, we formed this group right during the pandemic in order to be able to help support the New Orleans theater community. We broadcast on the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, the Facebook page for theatercriticism.com, as well as my own YouTube channel. And again, we're going to archive all of these. They're up on their website. So if you ever need to see anything, you can always go back. Would like to tell you that tonight we're very pleased to be able to get a little bit of time away for a very busy director, executive producer, artistic director from Fat Squirrel. And you can see the Fat Squirrel logo is already in the upper part of the screen there. Fat Squirrel is now in their 4th season and would like to bring into the area now while we can and do the interview with Andrea Watson. And yeah, but welcome back. And we've done this before. I do want to mention the fact that you are really busy, and we're recording this just for anybody who wanted to kind of like make a comment or whatever that you're not going to be able to do, because you are really literally doing the they're bringing in all the equipment. They're loading in right
now. I'm actually sitting at Big Couch looking at a lobby full of set pieces and scenery, and got a truck outside that
we appreciate you being able to take time out, and it's important to alert people as to what's going on. So when you announced this last early part of the year, I guess it was when you first announced your season, I said, oh my, that is a very big work, the Crucible. And for those of you who don't know or maybe didn't get the advance word, you're going to be directing the Crucible, of course, the Crucible, written by Arthur Miller, and a very famous story about the Salem witch trials. But you're kind of updating it a little bit, and we'll get into that in just a second, right? But what was it, first off, that possessed you to go to such a big work? Because you've done smaller works and done very well and been congratulated on your efforts before, but this is a big drama and really requires a lot more, I think, moving parts. Well,
I'd like to point out we've also done big works and been congratulated on those as well.
Yeah, but I mean, this is one that
we did the Scottish play, which yes. I would argue is probably the biggest drama of them all, and we did that to great success. We also Star-Crossed was also a very huge undertaking, and that was hugely successful.
I don't mean to demean you've done already, but this one is one that's on the the lexicon. Of course, the Scottish play, yes, and it was an unusual presentation that you did as well. And I believe it was at the
Fortress of Lushington.
The Fortress of Lushington. And are they still doing works there or no?
They're not, and we miss them so much. Yeah. I miss them. I miss Bunny. I miss the space.
It was an interesting place. And of course, Bunny was I think a bartender at one point. So that brings us right into, before we get into yours, Tales of the Cocktail just ended, and I snagged myself a Balvenie glass to sample what is Glenlivet 12. So I hope that I don't know what you're going to be drinking. Probably water, but
I am drinking the highest quality H2O for sure. It's last time I checked, it was 106 degrees outside with the heat index. So it's I'm staying hydrated, and
for the sake of everybody who cares, I don't normally drink in midday when I do this, but I made an exception in your case. And again, after Tales of the Cocktail last week, I got my fill of a lot of spirits. So we'll get into that later, though. All right, tell me a little bit about what brought you to do this work and the reimagining of it. If you can tell me a little bit first off about what drew you to the work. I don't know that we've seen the Crucible here on local stages in some time. So was that one of the factors?
Well, not really, but when I did start considering doing this, I asked some folks, hey, can y'all do a little research, see when the last time this happened in New Orleans was, and they found the same thing that you just said about that it hasn't been done in quite some time. But what drew me to it was, as we were closing down season 3, we only had one show in season 3, The Trojan Women. And that actually came after a year of a period of mourning My father passed away in season 2. And so I took a year, and, tended to the things that I needed to tend to in myself in that passing. And then we came back and we did the Trojan Women in season 3. And I was so incredibly energized by the Trojan Women that I was just ready to start programming season 4. And I was talking with 2 of my very dear friends and often collaborators, Stephanie Garrison, who often works with me as a dramaturg and a co-writer and a co-director, and Bradley Warschauer, who's also a brilliant local writer. And Bradley suggested that I listen to a podcast, which I knew if he was suggesting that it had to be good, because I do not enjoy podcasts. It's not a thing I enjoy filling my time with. But he suggested I listen to a podcast called Hysterical. And I absolutely devoured this podcast. And this podcast is about a psychological condition called conversion disorder. And the long and short of it is somebody who's experiencing conversion disorder is under incredible psychological stress and strain, and the brain converts that stress into physical symptoms. So the major group that the host was talking about in this podcast was a group of high school girls in upstate New York in the early 20 teens, I believe. And I remember when it happened because it was such a news story. And folks were even saying like, oh, it's only affecting girls in this one high school. Maybe they got a shipment of bad tampons and they're being poisoned or something. It was so wild. And they also talk about in this podcast, Havana syndrome, which we saw with in a lot of folks in the American consulate in other countries in the late 20 teens, and also talked about the witnesses in the Salem witch trials. So the hallmarks of conversion disorder are there's a sudden onset of unusual symptoms that the person has never exhibited before. They're medically inconclusive, and conversion disorder spreads among a pre-existing social group. And the way that it spreads is that a person who sort of has the ingredients for this condition sees another person experiencing these symptoms, and they themselves begin experiencing them. So
can you give me just a hint of what a symptom would be for somebody
Absolutely.
who...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Catatonia, hallucinations, tremors, fainting spells, rapid body temperature change.
And so you're likening what these girls would have gone through in real life to what might have been actually shared as an experience back in the Salem witch trials.
Absolutely. And as I was listening to this podcast, the concept for the show can kind of be boiled down to this. What if the girls aren't lying? So in our production, the girls are absolutely experiencing everything they say they're experiencing. They are seeing these hallucinations. They're seeing these things. For example, in Act 3, there's a famous scene where they see a yellow bird. The girls are actually seeing the bird. There is not the they're pretending to get people in trouble or get back at John Proctor, or that is not what's happening in our version. They are actually experiencing this, and it's terrifying for them. And what they're being told is that this is a gift from God to help them cleanse their village of the devil that has come. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, they're going to continue to do their duty like good Christian girls, which is a phrase that's said many times in this play. But I would posit the question, what if they're simply just not lying?
Okay. Now, again, the Arthur Miller play goes back some time. Did you find anything difficult to translate to bring it up to date? Were there any things that you had to kind of take a leap of faith with that maybe was a little bit challenging?
What's really interesting is that a lot of it translated just 1-to-1, just right on over. And a lot of it was, of course, laid at the feet of Jonathan Mares, who is playing John Proctor. When I announced Crucible auditions, he messaged me and he said, I would really love to read for Proctor. And I told him, I said, I would love to have you, but I need you to know it's not the Proctor we're used to. It's not the Proctor we all studied in school with the redemption arc and the, all of the sort of hero, the hero with all of these faults. I was like, it's not that. And he was like, I'm down for it.
And as Broadway has so proudly pronounced, John Proctor is the villain.
He definitely is in this piece. And what's so interesting is, again, we're not changing a word. It's all there in the script. And the thing that we grappled with the most certainly was his confession in Act 4. Like how does this, what is the intention here? How do we change this intention from the original intention, and again, the one we all studied in school, of this redemption, and he has his goodness, as Elizabeth says in the end. That was really the thing that we grappled with the most. But again, Jonathan and Anya Afsharian, who's playing Elizabeth Proctor, they're doing such amazing work. And Proctor in our world is a master of psychological manipulation.
Yes.
And emotional manipulation.
Right.
We see it the second he walks on stage in Act 2 or Act 1. We see it all through Act 2 in his interactions with Elizabeth. So when we get to Act 4, we are ready for him to continue manipulating Elizabeth up until the last moments of his life.
I guess the modern adaptation is from a film from 1946, Gaslighting, a little bit. Do you think that would be applicable?
There's certainly some sort of gaslighting adjacent things, particularly when he talks about how noble it was for him to confess that he had an affair with Abigail. And, it's all at the feet of the actor, and Jonathan's delivery of that is so, and you just watch it and it makes you feel icky because he's doing such a beautiful job of, this man is just constantly manipulating his wife and just constantly setting her up to be, just be shifted and moved like a piece on a board. And they're both doing such amazing, beautiful work. And Emery Farber, who's our Abigail, is just, I'm in awe of her. She's quite young. And I feel so lucky because it's really hard to find a young actress that has the depth for Abigail. Particularly in this, because Abigail typically is just a manipulative, kind of catty, ugly character with very few redeeming qualities. But she's the victim in our world, and it's there in the text.
Right.
John Proctor is a statutory rapist, and he's a manipulator, and so. Actually, this Abigail, our Abigail, requires much more depth from an actress, much more nuance and layers, on top of all of the conversion disorder, displaying these symptoms. And I feel so incredibly lucky and blessed and all of those things to have found Emery, who's again, a young actress and so indescribably talented, and I cannot wait to get her in front of an audience in this role.
So we want everybody to know tickets are going very fast.
Yes.
How many people can be seated at a performance? Approximately
Around 60.
Around 60. So,
Yep.
so
Really limited.
Okay, so this is where you go to get tickets, fatsquirrelnola.square.site. And I know I should also mention that in case some of you want to support the efforts of Fat Squirrel throughout the year, there is a way to make a tax-deductible donation. And you were able to partner with a group that actually does that. They take the donations that are intended for you, and they send them on their way to you, and you get the benefit. So it's fatsquirrelnola.square.site/donate, and that's fantastic that you're able to do that. So again, tickets here, donations here. All right,
correct.
Tickets again and donations again. So let's get into the meat of it now, because we only have about 14 minutes left before we have to run on. But I wanted to show some of the photos. Now, these, again, are not production photos. These are rehearsal shots.
Sneak peek at rehearsals.
Yeah, so we wanted to kind of give everybody, an opportunity to kind of see some of the players. And I noticed that Ken Pauly's in this now, huh?
Ken Pauly is in this. He's playing, I will say, and this is no secret among my cast or anything, Giles Corey is my favorite character. He should be everybody's favorite character, honestly, in this play. He is absolutely wonderful. He said, I believe in our first rehearsal, he hasn't been on stage in about 7 years.
I don't think he has. That's what I was about to say. The fact that you got him now, of course, his wife's in the show too, Mary Pauly, but we'll talk about that later. I didn't see any photos that we had of her, but I'll have to go look a little bit further. But anyway, Mary's in it, and of course, she's a real, long time documented great actress, and of course has won numerous awards, etc. But Ken's been a director. He's done a lot of stuff on his own, and I see that obviously James Wright, who was with you in the Trojan Women, he's in the background there, and also Clint Johnson. I haven't seen Clint on stage in a few.
Clint has also not been on stage in quite some time.
So you're bringing some of my favorite people back who I haven't seen in a long time. It's great. Clint was in Next to Normal. He played the son in Next to Normal, and he also, of course, was in a couple of other shows like My Way at the National World War II Museum and the Stage Door Canteen. Abigail, tell me a little bit about Abigail. This is you said Anya, right?
Emery Farber.
Oh, Emery Farber. Okay, tell me a little bit about what her role is.
Again, in our version, the version you studied in English class in school, Abigail was very manipulative, kind of almost one-dimensional. Like, her goal was to manipulate folks around her and to, get back at John Proctor for spurning her, right? In our version, she is a victim. She is a child who was taken advantage of by an adult man. And so she's grappling with that. She's grappling with, her parents were killed, which is textual. Her parents were killed in front of her, and she's living, she's living with her uncle, who's the minister in Salem. So that comes with a ton of things. And then her cousin, right, falls sick and all of these things. And on top of that, all of these things she's already grappling with, she starts experiencing conversion disorder. And Emery's physicalities, there's almost her entire time on stage, not quite her entire time, but almost the entirety of her stage time, she is exhibiting physical symptoms of conversion disorder, which requires a huge amount of mastery of that tool of her body as a tool of the artist, of the actor. And it is so astounding to watch. She's built this vocabulary of the way her conversion disorder manifests itself. And it is just astounding to watch every night.
So Clint is playing, is it Danforth? Is that
he's playing Danforth?
Okay. And then I think you had Mercy.
Mercy Lewis is being played by Maddie Fry, who
Okay.
was last seen on Fat Squirrel stage in Star-Crossed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
then just upstage of her is local actress N. Samuel. And immediately to our left of N is Saoirse McCrossan, who was last seen on Fat Squirrel stage in the Scottish play.
Okay, there you go. Again, this is being presented, I believe, the 4th through the 14th. Is that not right? 10 days?
14th. So it's actually a total of 8 performances.
Okay.
So we do our typical Monday through Thursday.
Correct.
For 2 weeks. Yep. So
Monday. Weekends are not an option for Fat Squirrel.
Weekends are not an option for Fat Squirrel. You have too much going on the weekends already.
Well, basically, you've got a niche, just like Broadway shows that open on Monday night. For everybody else who's dark, it allows people to go see a show, and they do that from time to time. Chicago does that up on Broadway, and Joy, the new musical that stars Betsy Wolfe, also open on Mondays, because they want to take advantage of those people who might not normally come on a Monday night and would have other alternatives. So that gives them an opportunity.
In the city, we have so many folks in the service industry.
Yeah. And
also I want folks in the community theater to be able to come to the shows. And so it's been successful, us running shows that
So again, James Wright, Clint Johnson, and the other
Ryan Bruce.
Okay, and his part is
Ryan Bruce is Judge Haythorne.
Okay, he's the judge.
And Jim Wright is playing Francis Nurse.
Yes, interesting. You got Jim Wright, the macho guy, to play a nurse. How you like that? It's another story. Okay, some more photos. This again, Jonathan is in the front as John Proctor. And who is that? Mary?
That's Mary Langley. Mary Langley is our Mary Warren, and she is absolutely just a storm on stage. She's so incredibly talented, and I can't imagine anybody even approaching the power in this role that she has on stage. And Mary Warren's not a character with a ton of agency, but Mary Langley is just so incredibly and deeply talented that she's incredible to watch in this. And
again, we want to remind everybody that the Crucible is going to be at Big Couch. I think it's 1045
Desire
Street, right off the corner of St. Claude.
Desire and St. Claude, yep.
Yeah, so if you're not sure where it is, just go to St. Claude and Desire, park your car, and walk around the corner. Again, James Wright, Clint Johnson, back again. Now, James has not really missed too many performances, but Clint, it's great to see him back on the stage, as I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
And now these are 2 other young actors that you've got in your company.
Newer faces to me, certainly Anya Avsharian is she's Elizabeth Proctor, and this is the first time I'm working with her. And Miles Hamway plays Hale, Reverend Hale, the visiting minister from Beverly, who is of course the authority on witchcraft. And Miles, this is the first time I'm working with Miles, but we've sort of gotten close to working together a few times.
Can you give me a little bit about background? Is he from New Orleans, or?
I believe, actually, I think I just learned the other day that he is.
Okay, and again, Mary again. I think this is her with Jonathan, and I don't know what that scene is about, but it looks pretty intense. It looks like they're having, yeah. And again, the Proctors, as it were, we talk about Jonathan Proctor and being a little different in your show than what he might normally have been represented. But again, manipulative, as you mentioned, and finally at the end, that looks like a scene that's pretty intense.
It is quite intense, and honestly, it just gets more intense from there. Yeah.
So you've wet our beaks a little bit. You've enticed us a little bit. And again, those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, this is Andrea Watson, our esteemed director, artistic director, founder of Fat Squirrel, who also happens to be very, very closely associated with a very good friend of mine, Mason Wood. So I mentioned the fact that in this business, a lot of people keep their original names, etc. Once they get married, it's another story. But again, I hope that you all get a chance. I know he's been hanging out in Atlanta a lot, but I never know when you're working here or hanging out over there, or etc. But it's good that you have put down your roots here in New Orleans, and that the company, which I know at one point, like you said, around the time that your dad had passed, you were going through a lot, and I'm sure you had to go through some soul searching as to what you wanted to do with your future and whether or not you wanted to stay here or not. And I'm delighted to know that you made the choice to hang in here. At one point, you were doing a lot of acting yourself, but you're not really doing much of that now. Are you still considering that, or what?
I think if we do the right project, I'll step on stage.
Would you allow somebody else to direct you now still?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And gladly, because it's really hard to do both.
I know.
I've done both twice.
Right.
Once by design in the Scottish play, and once not by design for Star-Crossed. But no, I would love for somebody else to do that. But yeah, it just I don't have any specific plans to program something to act in, or not program something to act in. But it just as the programming comes, we'll see what happens.
I wanted to kind of focus again on the Crucible, but again, those of you who are able to get tickets, this is where you go to get tickets. Fat Squirrel NOLA.square.site. Again, to make donations, fatsquirrelnola.square.site/donate. I did in the remaining period of time want to talk to you about, aside from the Crucible, which we pretty much have gone a lot in terms of talking about it, what's going to happen with it. Tell me a little bit more about what the rest of your season is going to be, because you've had some interesting programming. Some of it was I would call it creative programming. You've got a number of things that are not typical fare for theater people. So tell me about some of the other things you have going in the remaining 2 minutes.
Yeah, in addition to we have 3 main stage shows this year. The Crucible's first main stage show of the year. In October, we're presenting Justin Maxwell's Exhausted Paint, featuring Drew Stroud, directed by Carly Stroud. They are actually, as we speak, on their way to Edinburgh Fringe with that show. So safe travels. And then in December, we are presenting an emerging directors showcase that will run an application process for folks who are interested in that. And we will pair those emerging directors with a seasoned director to mentor them through a process of directing a show. And then we also have 3 quarterly programming series. One is Something Like, which is our sing-along show, which has been around for quite some time. And we also have, brand new this year, we have The Squirrel and the Squire, which our second edition of that just happened on Saturday. That is a fully scripted, choose your own adventure fantasy show. So the audience live votes on the choices our heroes are going to make on their journey. And then the third one is called The Greenhouse. It's a quarterly development series that's based on the programming of the much beloved 6x6 at Southern Rep from so long ago.
Well, you're doing great work. And again, congratulations on everything. Break legs with the Crucible. Again, Andrea Watson, our guest tonight. I'm going to stick around for just a couple of seconds while I say goodbye to everybody. Again, everybody, I hope you get a chance to go see this show, The Crucible by Arthur Miller. Again, going to be at Big Couch, 1045 Desire, right on the corner of St. Claude. And until next time, I guess I'll see you at the theater. Okay, thank you very much.
Woo, right at 30, we did it.
It goes by very quickly.
I'm going to put my hair back up and go unload a truck.
You know what?